The right niche can take freelancers from $20 an hour to $100 an hour, but most are too scared or too lazy to pick one, so they leave money on the table. That money is yours to take if you pick the right niche. Here's what we're going to cover: the main benefits of picking a niche, the different ways you can niche down, how to choose the right niche, how Upwork makes it really easy, and questions to get you started. And just to show that I didn't pluck this $100 an hour figure out of thin air, here's a screenshot to show that it is possible. So, what are the benefits of picking a niche? Before we look at the how to pick a niche, we want to look at the why. And there's not just one why, there are many reasons why you should consider it. The first reason is you'll stand out from the crowd. There's fierce competition for good jobs on Upwork, so you can expect to be 1 out of 50 applicants. And that means you need to stand out to get noticed. Fortunately, most of your competitors will have very generic profile titles, such as creative copywriter, which is not very creative for someone who's supposed to be creative. Now, imagine that you are a client and you've posted a job on Upwork looking for a content writer to help you write content so you can grow your brand on LinkedIn. You get 50 applicants from these creative copywriters, but suddenly you see a freelancer who's branded themselves as a LinkedIn content marketing expert. So whose application are you going to read first? That's right. The same applies to getting job invitations from clients. But clients who look on Upwork for freelancers to invite to jobs don't just have 50 applicants, they'll have something like 5,000 different options to go through. So naturally, they'll just skim the search results, and whoever has the most attractive profile title will grab their attention and be first in line to get a job invitation. The second reason to pick a niche is that you will get better clients. Not only will picking a niche increase your chances of getting clients in the first place, but it'll also increase the quality of the clients. There are loads of business owners on Upwork who have no idea what they're doing. They know that they should market their business, but they have no idea how or who they should contact. That's why they go for generalists. But that usually means they don't have a very detailed project brief, if they have one at all, and therefore they also don't really have a budget to allocate, because how can they? So those people are not good clients. But business owners who do know what they're doing also understand the specific challenges that they're facing. So they're out looking for experts who can solve those specific challenges for them. And if you can position yourself as one of those experts, you're much more likely to make the shortlist. The third reason to pick a niche is that you can charge more money. Now, low quality clients or bad clients don't really understand how much a given problem is costing their business, so that's why they don't see the value you can provide as an expert. For example, they might look for someone who can help them write some text for their website because they know that the website is supposed to have some kind of text. What they don't consider is that that text can make the difference between a website visitor becoming one of their customers and that same website visitor leaving. Now, a high quality client understands how important the text on the website is when it comes to converting visitors into customers. So when it comes to choosing between a creative copywriter who charges $20 an hour and a website copywriting expert who charges $50 an hour, they're more than happy to pay the difference to get the expert because they know that that expert can deliver the results they want. The fourth reason to pick a niche is that eventually you will become a master. As the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none. When you do a lot of different things all the time, you won't get good at any of them. But when you do one thing, a lot of times you will eventually become really good at doing that one thing. In other words, you'll become a master. Imagine that you run a restaurant. You can have 50 different items on your menu, do an okay job at cooking them, charge a little bit of money, and then get some bang average reviews online. Or you can have 5 items on your menu, do an excellent job at cooking those dishes, charge your clients a premium, and then get some glowing reviews online. That's the difference between being a generalist who's okay at a bunch of different things and then being a specialist who's really good at a few things. So let's talk about the different ways you can niche down. Typically, there are 2 ways people niche down, and that's by job type and by industry. And if you want to be even more specialized, you can combine those 2 approaches. For example, you can specialize in only writing social media content, but then do it for any kind of business. Or you can specialize in writing any kind of content, but then only doing it for coaching businesses. Or you can specialize in only writing social media content specifically for coaching businesses. But you can get even more specific. You can specialize in writing LinkedIn carousel copy for tech startup business coaches only. Just remember that specialization and niching down is a double-edged sword. The more you narrow your focus, the fewer competitors you'll have, but also the fewer job opportunities you'll have, because there'll be less demand for your services. And that brings me to my next point, which is how to choose the right niche. It's really nice to do the type of work that you enjoy and work in an industry you love, but there is one variable we need to address, which is demand. If there's no demand for the work you do, then you won't be able to pay your bills. For example, I started out writing a lot of blog content for cryptocurrency companies. That's because at the time, SEO content was in very high demand and cryptocurrency companies were very trendy. 2020. Then there were a bunch of exchanges that got hacked, and some ICOs that turned out to be scams, and some NFTs that turned out to be worthless, and suddenly the cryptocurrency space wasn't that hot anymore. I'll give you a couple more examples. In early 2020, I had a bunch of clients in fitness and in events. Guess what happened to those two industries when governments around the world decided that lockdowns was a great idea? Fortunately, tech companies were on the rise, so that's why I pivoted to start working with them. But in 2022, tech companies around the world started laying off staff, and that hasn't stopped now in 2024. At the same time, AI tools like ChatGPT came along and largely replaced a lot of SEO writers. The point is this: if you're at the very top of your niche, you'll most likely never run out of work. But if you're not at the very top of your niche, or the market you're in shrinks considerably, then you will have to be able to pivot into something that there is more demand for. Fortunately, the jobs that you see posted on Upwork are a great indicator of what's hot right now. So you can use the job feed on Upwork to conduct real-time market research. And just one final note on the variable that is demand. You have to pick a type of work that is likely to lead to repeat business. You might be really good at writing pitch decks for startups, but they're not very likely to need pitch decks very often. If, on the other hand, you write blogs or emails or newsletters or something that needs to be published on a weekly or daily basis, you're much more likely to get repeat business from your existing clients. Now, let's talk about how Upwork makes all of this very easy. The beautiful thing about Upwork is that you actually get to create 3 different profiles, 1 generalized and 2 specialized profiles. And you can change all 3 whenever you feel like it. So when it comes to picking a niche, you can eat your cake and still have it. And yes, that's how you use that figure of speech, not the other way around. So if you already have specialized knowledge or experience in an industry, you can go and create a specialized profile straight away. But if you don't, then you're probably not ready to specialize yet. That's completely fine, because it allows you to experiment. You can dip your toes in different kinds of industries that require different kinds of work. In that case, I would suggest just to create a general profile to start out, and then start applying to whatever work seems interesting to you. But whatever you do, just make sure you have a more creative profile title than creative copywriter. The good part about this approach is that you get to make some money while you figure out the type of work that you enjoy doing and the industries that you like working in. And over time, you'll naturally gravitate towards certain types of work and industries, so you don't even have to worry about finding a niche. Eventually, it will find you. And don't worry if you don't have a niche right now, because all the stuff that I'm going to teach you will work for you whether you have a niche or not. All you have to know is that picking a niche will help you get paid more and faster. So it's time for a very simple exercise, and that is to answer 6 simple questions to help you find a niche. If you can't answer them right now, don't worry about it, you can come back to them later. And even if you can answer them now, your answers might change later depending on how many jobs you have under your belt. So the questions are these. 1. How many freelance jobs have you completed? 2. Which jobs did you enjoy the most? 3. Which jobs resulted in the best feedback? 4. Which jobs paid the most? 5. Which job, if any, led to more work? And 6. Which jobs are in most demand? See if you can spot some patterns in the jobs you've listed under each question. Are they the same type of work? Are they in the same industry? Are the companies the same size? And so on and so forth. Use that information to brainstorm some potential niches that you could see yourself working in. And don't just come up with one niche. Come up with a handful of options so that you have a bit to choose from, and that way you can try each of those niches on and see how it fits.